Okay, we are live on Facebook and the recording started. So welcome to the 9th session of Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam with technology interludes for ages 8 and up. So in the last session, we talked about Bheeshma's answer to Yudhishtira's questions. So specifically, these are the answers to question number 5 and 6. Ko dharma sarva-dharmaanaam Bhavatah paramo matah. What, in your opinion, is the greatest dharma? Is the question that Yudhishtira asks to Bheeshma. And the 6th question that he asks is, Kin japan muchyate jantuh Janma-samsaara-bandhaaat. By doing japa of whom or what can jantu, that is creatures, go beyond muchyate, the bonds, the bandhanaath of all samsara, all bonds of samsara. So in reply, Bheeshma says, anādi nidhanaṁ viṣṇuṁ sarva-loka-maheshwaram lokādhyakṣam stuvan-nityam sarva-dukkhāti go bhavet. So he says that Bheeshma says that the greatest dharma is the one Vishnu, right? That is the greatest dharma. And in the next 2 slokas, which we will cover in today's class, today's session, he elaborates further. So in the last session, we covered this sloka. And in today's session, we are going to cover the next 2 slokas. So the reply, Bheeshma is continuing the reply. He's saying, brahmaṇyaṁ sarvadharmajñaṁ lokanam kirtivardhanam lokanādam mahadbhutam sarvabhuta bhavodbhavam. In English, brahmaṇyaṁ sarvadharmajñaṁ lokanam kirtivardhanam lokanādam mahadbhutam sarvabhuta bhavodbhavam. This is the 13th verse in Vishnu Sahasranamam. So what is brahmaṇyaṁ?
Expanding, the one with the
expanding mind. But we covered what are called as brahmanas. Remember? Do you remember brahmanas? So when we talked about the classification of Vedas, we talked about what are called as brahmanas. So brahmanas are basically commentary on the Vedas. Mostly they explain how to do rituals, Vedic rituals. So brahmanas are like commentary. Now brahmaṇyaṁ means what? Brahmanas are commentary on Vedas. So brahmaṇyaṁ means?
One to explain.
Yeah, it's like
explain rituals.
It's like somebody who is well versed in the Vedas and the commentary on the Vedas and the Vedic rituals, right? It could mean multiple things, but this is my interpretation. Brahmaṇyaṁ means somebody who is well versed in the Vedic procedures, Vedic rituals, and the Vedas. It could also mean, what is Brahman? Brahma means expanding mind, right? When you recite Vedas, when you are fully conversant with Vedic rituals, what exactly happens is basically you are expanding, your mind expands. So Brahmaṇyaṁ could mean expanding mind also, but in this context, I think it is in relation to the Vedic literature, the commentary on Vedas and things like that. So that is brahmaṇyaṁ. Sarvadharmajñaṁ.
Every dharma, duty.
Yeah, sarva is every, dharmajñaṁ. Dharma is duties, jnam means?
Jnana is knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge. So somebody who is knowledgeable about all the duties, all dharmas. Sarvadharmajñaṁ means somebody who knows all the duties, all the dharmas. Lokanam.
One who knows all the lokas.
No, Lokanam. So nam is a vibhakti pratyaya. What does nam mean?
Helping or opposite?
Sya means singular, nam means plural. So lokasya means lokas means belonging to. Lokanam means among the loka. So lokanam means among the loka. Kirti means what? Kirti is fame, right?
Fame?
Yeah.
Like being famous?
Yeah, being famous. Kirti means fame. Vardhanam. Vardhan. Govardhan. Krishna is called Govardhan, right?
Govardhan is a mountain, right?
Yeah, Govardhan is also a mountain. Govardhana Giridhari. Or Vardhanam means to enhance. Vardhanam, Vardha means to enhance. Govardhanam means to take care of the goats, the cows. Go is cow. So something who enhances the cows, takes care of their well-being is Govardhana. So Kirti Vardhanam means something which enhances Kirti, fame. Lokanadham, Loka is world, Nadham means Nad. Nad means Lord. Lokanadham means Lord of the world. Mahadbhutam,
The great
Bhutam,
earth or the sky?
Maha is of course great. Bhutam, what is Bhutam?
Earth or sky?
Oh, creature, living creatures. Mahadbhutam means the greatest living creature, greatest creature. Sarva bhuta bhavodbhavam. Sarva is all, you know.
Creatures.
Creature, bhuta is creatures. Bhava udbhavam. Bhava means?
To be or to do or to exist?
Yeah, to exist. Udbhavam.
Also exist or not exist?
Yeah, to arise. Udbhavam means to arise. So sarva bhuta bhavodbhavam means from where all the creatures arouse, originated.
From the Lord.
Yeah, from God. So these are basically the qualities of God. brahmaṇyaṁ, sarvadharmāṇāṁ, is this?
Is this the start of the Vishnu Sahasranamam?
Not yet. That is the interesting, right? That is the interesting thing. We did not even start the Vishnu Sahasranamam, but the namas actually already started. So these are all qualities of God. God is brahmaṇyaṁ, God is sarvadharmajñaṁ, God is lokanam kirtivardhanam. He enhances the fame in the world. God is lokanadam, he is the Lord of the world. God is mahadbhutam, that means he is the greatest creature. And God is sarva bhuta bhavodbhavam. So from where all the living creatures were born. So he who is well versed in the Vedas and Vedic rituals, he knows all dharmas, he who enhances the fame of all living in the world, one who is the master of the universe, who is the originator of all creatures. And in what context is Bheeshma telling all this? As an answer to
Kim Japan
muchyate, jantuh Janma-samsaara-bandhaaat. So doing japa on whom will remove all bonds of samsara is the question that Yudhishtira raised. And Bheeshma is saying that doing japa on this person, this God, who is well versed in Vedas, Vedic rituals, knows all the dharmas and all that, doing japa on him will remove all bonds of samsara. So how is that possible? And just doing a japa on somebody, how can it remove the bonds of the samsara?
Because we attain moksha, our soul becomes
But why?
purified.
How?
Well,
Okay.
when our soul becomes purified, we don't accept our,
But
we
why?
don't have any ego.
That's right. But why does your soul get purified just by meditating upon the person with, or the God with these qualities?
Well, to purify is to like make good, and by reciting other people's praise or the Lord's praise, then you're humbling yourself or making yourself
good.
pure.
That's one aspect of it. Okay, I'll ask you a different question, a related question. Why is Lord Rama and Lord Krishna considered avatars?
Because they showed the traits of the Lord.
Exactly. They showed the qualities of God, right? The brahmaṇyaṁ, sarva-dharmajñaṁ, lokanam kirtivardhanam, lokanādham, mahadbhutam, sarvabhuta bhavam. So these are all the qualities that God, Rama and Lord Krishna showed. But there is no evidence of Lord Rama or Lord Krishna reading all the Vedas, right? Knowing all the dharmas and knowing, well versed in all the Vedic rituals and all the brahmanas, right? In fact, it is impossible in a lifetime to do that, right? Nobody in this world in their lifetime will be able to read all the Vedas, all the rituals, brahmanas, and be conversant with all the dharmas in the world, all the duties in the world. So how come Rama and Krishna are still considered avatars of this paramo purusha?
Well, they don't need to match to each and every trait, do they?
Otherwise, why would you call avatar, right?
Oh, did they do half of it in one life and the next half in the other life and then combine those together when they remembered the last lives?
Yeah, you are somewhat close. Yeah, it comes through by taking birth many times. That is one way you improve. That is one way. What was I thinking? Yes, brahmaṇyaṁ sarvadharmajñaṁ, right? So typically, how much Veda, what percent of Vedas do you think a person can cover in a lifetime?
Hardly nothing.
Yeah, that's right. So typically, people are at best good in one Veda. So typically,
So like dancers and singers are good in Samaveda.
yeah, Yajurveda, that also part of it. Typically, a lot of people are good in Yajurveda. See, did you hear the name Trivedi, Dvivedi, Shukla?
Is that Dvivedi a last name?
Yeah, these are all last names.
Yeah,
Chaturvedi.
I've heard Dvivedi.
Dvivedi,
Two
right?
Vedas.
Yeah, so when people were good in two Vedas, they were called Dvivedis. When people were good at three Vedas, they were called Trivedis.
Right.
Four Vedas, all four Vedas, Chaturvedi.
What about Ekavedi?
One Vedi, I think Shukla and others, there are some other last names I forgot. So those are good in one Veda. I mean, everyone practicing the priesthood needs to be good in at least one Veda. So all the Brahminical last names indicate that they are good in at least one Veda. But if they are gone beyond the scope and were well versed in two Vedas, they were called Dvivedis and so on and so forth. So yeah, at the best that a person in lifetime can know is just one Veda at most, thoroughly, right? So Lord Rama and Lord Krishna were Kshatriyas. They were not even practicing priesthood. So how come they are brahmaṇyaṁ, they are sarvadharmajñaṁ, and then all this? So
They were they knew a little bit of each Vedas. They were Chaturvedis.
good guess. Okay, let me ask you another question. What is the final effect of studying? So you study for 30 years, you do your PhD in computer engineering. What is the effect? What is the final effect of all the study?
You have knowledge that you can use in the world.
Yeah, so you're well versed in the subject of computer science that you can do anything that's related to computer science, right? Pretty much. So that is the effect of studies. So Lord Rama and Lord Krishna exhibited the behavior that is typical of somebody who studied all the Vedas, who knows all the dharmas, and who are lords of the world, right? Don't you think so? See,
So
if somebody was well versed in all the Vedas and all the dharmas, they would talk like Lord Krishna. They would behave like Lord Krishna, right? Giving Bhagavad Gita, recognizing that Bheeshma is a great person. See, Duryodhana was on Bheeshma's side. Bheeshma was actually working for Duryodhana,
yeah.
right? But Duryodhana himself was not convinced that Bheeshma is a great person. Duryodhana was never convinced. He, out of respect, he made him the what do you call that? General of the army, right? Bheeshma was the general of the Kaurava army. So out of respect, he did that. It's not because he trusted in Bheeshma or he thought that is really great or anything. So, but Lord Krishna recognized Bheeshma. So that is a sign of godliness. There are many characteristics of Lord Krishna which prove that he is well versed in the Vedas, he knows all the dharmas, and is the Lord of the entire world. See, when you're the Lord of the entire world, see, if you're the leader of your home, like your dad or your mom, they know pretty much everything about the home, right?
Yeah.
They know what is good, what is bad in the home, who is good, who is bad in the home, what are the bad habits, what are the good habits, everything
they
they know.
wouldn't be considered a leader.
That's
Or
right.
could-
Otherwise, they would not be considered a leader. So Lokanatha means somebody who is the leader of the entire world. That means he knows everything, who is good, who is bad, what is good, what is bad, right? And Lord Krishna demonstrated that behavior, right? So although he did not study word by word of the Vedas, although he did not walk through each and every dutiful path, he exhibited the behavior that is typical of someone who has done all this. See, the same thing, right? I'll tell you a secret. I did not read many books in my life. I mean, when I was small, I used to read a lot of storybooks and all that. But
Like textbooks and stuff?
yeah, textbooks and stuff, I did not read much. But I could grasp a lot of it in the books. So you know what I used to do? Just one day before the exam,
Skim
I
it.
used to skim the pages.
But then how do you recollect anything when you
That's right. So that is where the intuition comes into picture. Some people they read word by word, spend days together or maybe even months together reading one textbook, but still they are not able to grasp a whole lot. There are some people who just skim the pages before the exam, and then, of course, I did pretty well, but not all that well. There were some of my classmates who did much better than me.
by just skimming?
That I don't know. But what I mean to say is, particularly before the exam, right? There were days when I opened the book just after reaching the college before the exam.
But you
So-
only get like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, maybe 15, 20 minutes. And then at 15, 20 minutes, I used to quickly skim the pages. And I could answer. Well. I never failed in any exam. Just once when I was in 6th grade, that was because of the teacher actually, because the teacher, she was a botany teacher and
Sixth grade.
whatever, the biology teacher. And she was asked to teach math because the math teacher was not present or something like that. The math teacher resigned or something like that.
That must have been hard for her.
Yeah, she just went by the textbook definitions, and anything different from textbook, she marked 0. So when I went to, anyway, that's a different story. But what I mean to say is, some people, particularly when you are under pressure, you perform excellent. All your intuition and all your mind comes into full existence.
Oh yeah,
When you're under
Steve
pressure.
Jobs or somebody said that, right?
That I don't know, but
Starting at
that
the last
actually
minute.
that's what helped me. I mean, that's what just before the exam, I used to be fully tensed up. And that's when I used to open my book and I used to read, and I could make it through the exams. So what I mean to say is, it all depends on your intuition. Suppose in your past lives you came across similar kind of phenomena. Maybe in the olden day, in your past lives, you were reading Vedas, all the Vedic knowledge, and those concepts get imbibed in your mind and soul. Right? The soul is a repository of all memories, deep memories. So when something similar happens, you can easily understand. Right?
So even if you don't know it from your last birth, it's still there.
Yeah. So so it's all in the soul. So for instance, you go to a movie theater for the very first time. You'd be looking up and beside and this way, that way. What is this? Why is there a big wall in front of us? And why is this? There's so many chairs. Why are so many people? You'll be wondering, right?
Yeah.
But the second time you go there,
It starts to get normal.
you won't even need 1 minute to get accustomed to the thing, right? So that's exactly with even studies. So if things are new, you may have to read word by word and struggle with the concepts and try very hard and all that. But if in the past lives or in the past you were getting familiar with similar kind of concepts, you don't need that much time. You realize very quickly, right? So first time you tried to memorize a sloka, you took like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And now you can memorize a Sanskrit sloka in just 5 minutes, right? Why? Because of the intuition, because of the experience that you had, right? Same thing here. So Lord Rama and Lord Krishna, maybe through their past births or whatever, they already aware at the goal of the studies. They were exhibiting the behavior which is typical of somebody who studied all the Vedas, right? So maybe through their, that is the reason why they are considered avatars. Maybe they are directly from God's, what do you call that? Directly from God, maybe. They have the, of course, we all have the life given by God, but maybe these people had that extra stuff. Rama and Krishna, they exhibited or maybe through many lives they came close to what we consider as God, right? So, so basically, if you are able to demonstrate that effect, then see, you take Lord Rama's example. He demonstrated the effect of knowing every duty in this world. He knew the duty and he fulfilled the duty towards everyone in this world. He fulfilled his duty towards his dad. He fulfilled his duty towards his stepmom. He fulfilled his duty towards his brothers.
Wife.
He fulfilled towards his wife. He fulfilled his duty towards his subjects, like a washerman said something, and he fulfilled his duties towards everyone, and he understood them also. So these days, many people do not even understand simple duties, right? Very simple duties. Duties towards their parents. There are so many parents who are just struggling. They are just struggling to live in their old age. And the law doesn't understand. Of course, in India, they are understanding now, because many people are going through that pain. People who are in the law and order framework, like the lawyers, the lawmakers, the legislators. So they are all in their old age, and they started realizing now. So at least they're the laws. But in other countries, that's not the case. They don't even realize, right? So many elderly people are struggling. Some people, they understand the duty, they understand, they want to fulfill their duty, but they are not able to because of law, sometimes family members, sometimes wife says or husband says, just let them go, or whatever. So there are a lot of people who are not even understanding the duty, right? The spouse, the wife or the husband who says don't care for the other spouse's parent is basically not understanding the duty, right? So let alone fulfill, but not even understanding the duty. And similarly, duties towards their friends. A friend gets into trouble, many people drop out. Many friends drop out.
They stop being friends.
Yeah, they stop being friends. There are many people like that. The moment somebody gets into trouble, they drop off. They don't associate. So that means they're failing in their duty. They don't even understand the duty towards their friends. And even worse is, some people do not understand the duty towards themselves. Right? What are the duties towards themselves?
To take care of yourself.
Yeah, to take care of yourself, right? To take care of your body, of your mind, of your well-being, right? Some people are not. I mean, people just watch TV and eat potatoes, snacks. What is it? What are they called? French fries, deep fried French fries. They open a packet of French fries and taco chips or whatever. They eat all the junk food sitting in front of the TV. So that means they don't understand the duty towards themselves, because they're ruining themselves, right? So similarly, discipline, right? Indisciplined children, indisciplined elders who are who just live the way it comes, right? That's not a good understanding of their duties. So Lord Rama understood the duties towards each and every individual in this world, and he fulfilled them also. See, towards Ravana also, he fulfilled his duty, right?
Yeah.
He gave him chances. And he waged a war as a last resort.
When Ravana just didn't
Yeah.
respond.
So he understood the responsibilities, the duty towards Ravana, even the bitterest of the enemies. And then he tried to fulfill those duties. And then if somebody is so bad, so arrogant, so heady that he wouldn't listen to any amount of good sermons, good messages, then what is your duty towards that person? If that person really harmed you, you have to teach him a lesson, right? You have to probably in those days, because Ravana is a Kshatriya and Rama is a Kshatriya too, or whatever. Ravana is a Brahmin, but he was ruling the kingdom. He was a king. Both were kings, so they fought each other. But you have a responsibility towards people who are doing bad, right? Suppose your kids are doing bad, you have a responsibility. You cannot say, "Oh, the kid is different from me. I will take it easy." No, you have to fulfill your duty. So Lord Rama understood all these things and exhibited the behavior very well. That is the reason why he is called an avatar of Lord Vishnu, because he exhibited the end effect of all these qualities. Right? Okay, brahmaṇyaṁ, sarva-dharmajñaṁ, lokanam kirtivardhanam. What can you make out of this phrase?
He brings.
He enhances the fame. That's right. That's the literal meaning. But how do you interpret it?
Isn't fame a bad thing though?
No. Fame is never. It's not bad.
It's
But
like,
craving for fame is bad.
because for some reason fame reminds me of kama.
Yeah,
Desire.
craving for fame is bad. But fame is by itself is not bad. That's why many kids are named Kirti, right?
So it means like to be glorified.
Yeah, to be glorified in the world. Lokanam kirtivardhanam. So in the worlds, God enhances the fame. So what does that mean? How do you interpret it? How do you interpret it?
Well, when you fame somebody, you draw attention to them. So maybe it's like how God draws attention to each and every one of us and makes sure like he responds to every one of us, doesn't just leave some people behind and pick and choose the best people to give fame to.
That is somewhat okay. But my interpretation is fame is God's domain. So whether to make someone famous or not is God's decision. It's not our decision. Right? There are many geniuses, many people who do great things. See, like last week, we talked about Mother Teresa, right? Mother Teresa became famous.
Only after.
Yeah, but she became famous. But does that mean that there's nobody like her who is doing service?
No.
No.
There
are tons of other people. There are. I'm pretty sure. I'm not. I don't have the first-hand information or something, but I'm pretty sure there are some homes where the leprechauns, what do you call them? Leprosy-infected people are being cared for. Just like Mother Teresa was caring for them, there are other people in these homes where these lepers, they're not leprechauns, lepers, they're called lepers. Lepers are being cared for. Leprechaun is what?
Green elf.
Yeah, that's right. So lepers. So the lepers are being cared for in homes, in nursing homes meant for them. So the nurses taking care of such people are like Mother Teresa, right? So but how come only Mother Teresa got the fame? Because it's God's wish. So the fame is God's domain. You should not crave for fame. You should just do your duty, and you can let people know about it also. That's not too bad, particularly in this world where people get slandered, most of the time people are being looked at in a very negative way. Letting the world know about you is a good thing. It's not too bad, but
isn't it egotistic though?
No, it's not egotistic. You're just passing on the information. But if you intend to be famous, if you really crave for the fame, and if your intention is to boss over the others, if your intention is to take pride in it, if your intention is to feel supreme about it, then it is bad, then it is ego. But if you are just letting people know about you, it's not, I don't think it is ego. And that is required in this world. See, you have to prove yourself, right? You have to establish yourself in this world. Otherwise, who is going to trust you and give you a job? Who is going to trust you and give an opportunity? So you have to let people know about it. So that is not bad. But craving for fame is a bad thing.
But does God have reasons that he's giving fame to Mother Teresa and
Right.
not anyone else?
Yes, he has reasons. We don't know those reasons. Maybe there were other qualities in this person which made the person fit for fame. Right? So similarly, even in a subject, right? You take many people who are very good in a subject. They don't become famous easily. Right? But there are some people who do some things and they become really very famous. So fame is something, even in computer science, right? Machine learning, artificial intelligence. There are some people who did really solid work, but they're not as famous as others. Right? So fame is something that God will decide. We cannot decide. And if we want to decide to be famous, then because it's not along the lines of God's will, we might get into a lot of troubles. So being famous is God's domain. It's God who decides who should be famous. Okay, that is about Kirtivardhanam, Lokanam Kirtivardhanam. The next is Lokanadam. What does Lokanadam mean? It's the Lord of the world. So what can you interpret from that?
That Lord is all pervading, omnipotent, and omnipresent.
Yeah, one thing is
everything belongs to him eternally, including us.
Yes, everything belongs to him. And what can you tell about the people who are really the leaders of the world? Like
They're
the presidents of countries.
They're just like messengers of God.
Yeah, they're more, that's a good interpretation. They're like messengers of the God. So in fact, in olden days, and even now to some extent in Thailand, king is considered as a representative of God. They think that king is a direct Buddha's representative in Thailand. So king is greatly respected in Thailand.
Is it how, like in ancient Egypt, the kings and pharaohs had to talk to the gods?
Yeah, sort of like
and
that.
And then pass it on to the rest of the
because
people?
They are like Lokanathas, right? They are the lords of the world. So, but that's a very small part that they are playing compared to what God plays in our lives, right? Lokanatham is the Lord of worlds who knows everything about every subject. He knows who is good, who is bad, who should become famous. Actually, all these qualities are related to one another. So when you are the Lord of the worlds, you know who to promote, like your manager, right?
Yeah.
A manager knows who to promote, who to discipline, or who to just let, who to control closely. So isn't the manager knows all these things, right? Same thing with God as the Lord of the worlds. He knows who to promote, who to discipline, who to watch closely, who to all that stuff. So that is another interpretation of Lokanadam. And in all the creatures in the world. So the next word quality is Madbhutam. That means the greatest of the bhutas, of the creatures.
Well, this kind of goes with Lokanathan. If he's the greatest,
they're all related.
He's the king of
Yeah. So all the qualities are one and the same actually. So Mahatbhutam is he is the greatest of all the creatures. So we are like candles in front of the sun, right? If we think that we are great for any reason, maybe we got an honor roll, or we spoke in a very famous conference, or we got a paper published in a very big journal, great journal.
Look at the sun and
So we are just like a candle before the sun, because compared with the Mahatbhutam, with God, who is the greatest of all the Bhutas, we are just like nothing. So ego and pride are just an illusion, right? It's just a myth. They really don't exist. The pride is really not there. If you know all these qualities of God, you know pretty well that there's no point in taking pride in anything, because there's always something greater than what you achieved, and that is God. So when you repeatedly meditate upon all these qualities, so when you do japa upon the God and his qualities, all these facts will become clear, that ego is just an illusion. There's no point in becoming proud, that you need to take care of your duties towards yourself, your parents. You need to sleep on time, get up on time. You need to see, you have a duty towards the sun god also, right? Like my grandfather used to say that if you wake up after the sun god wakes up, it's an insult. So you have a duty towards the sun god also. I mean, you pray, you recite Aditya Hridayam in the morning every day, and if you insult him, what is the point, right? So you have to understand the duties towards everyone and fulfill those duties, right? So when you repeatedly think of all these qualities of God, then those qualities start building into you, and then you start exhibiting qualities like Lord Rama and Lord Krishna exhibited slowly. Okay, the next phrase is sarva-bhuta bhavodbhavam. He is the originator of all the bhutas, all the living creatures. And we studied in Purusha Suktam about the Srishti Yajna, right? So the entire Srishti was created
by Brahma.
And
Brahma came from Lord Vishnu.
Right. So some think that they are the parents. Oh, we are the parents. They go to court and fight for the children. My kid. I took care of the kid for 3 months or whatever, 3 years completely on my own without anybody's help. I fed and all. The kid came from my tummy and all that stuff. They go to court and fight. And something that Brahma is the father. But who is the real father? Who is the real parent? It's the God. Yeah, it's the God, right? I mean, Brahma himself came from the God. And Brahma's sacrifice, compared to Brahma's sacrifice, what is anybody else's sacrifice? He sacrificed himself. Remember, Brahma is a mortal, and he put himself on the altar as a sacrificial beast, sacrificial animal for the yajna. We studied in Purusha Suktam, right? So compared to that kind of a sacrifice, what is any other sacrifice? So all these big things like, should I take care of my kids, or should I do my job, or should I cook in the home, or should I care for my mother, or should I walk in the park, or so if you say all these things, what does it mean? It simply means nonsense, right?
You're lazy.
Yeah, it reflects on your own thing, your own laziness or whatever bad things. So So God, I mean, if you know all these concepts, all these qualities of God, you will not think like that, right? You don't think so? You'll not feel you're tired. You lift. Oh my God, I did not get enough sleep in the morning. Oh, I had to sleep in the afternoon. Oh. So you'll not feel all these things, right? So if you know the strength of God, if you know these qualities, so and when these concepts, so why are we talking about all these things? All these things are in reply to Yudhishtira's question. And what is the question?
Kim
Kim
Japan.
japan muchyate jantur samsara-bandhāat. By doing japa of whom will all the bonds of samsara dissolve? And now you know, right? When you repeat the qualities of God in your mind, you don't feel the pain, you don't feel the bondage, you don't feel like you're tied to your kids, you're tied to your legs. Oh, my legs are paining. Oh, you don't feel that way, or you don't feel like tied up all the time, right? So do you agree that Bheeshma gave the right answer now? Right?
Yeah.
So if you keep on repeating the qualities of God, you will not feel any bondage towards anything in the world. So that is what this sloka implies. Okay, now let us look at the next sloka. Yeshame sarvadharmaanaam dharmadikatomo matah yad bhaktya pundarikaksham stavairachenarasada. Yeshame sarvadharmaanaam dharmo dikatamo matah yad bhaktya pundarikaksham stavairachenarasada. Pundarikaksha, the lotus-eyed one. Pundarika is lotus. Aksha means eyes. So of the lotus-eyed one, who is the only one who knows the dharma?
Esame Sarva is that.
Yeshame sarva. Who? Esha is who.
Isn't Isha
So-
God?
No, that is Isha. Eshame means who. Eshame sarva-dharmaanaam. He is the all dharma. He knows all dharma. Praising him is a dharma that is the greatest. So this is the other answer. This is the answer to the other question. What was the other question? Kim japan muchyate kim vapyekam parayanam. Right? That was the question. So by kim japan muchyate jantuh janma
Sarvadharmāṇāṁ.
kam prapniya. So the other question, the other question was anyway. He is answering. Bheeshma is answering Yudhishthira's other question, where he asks, "What is the greatest dharma in this world?"
But didn't he already say that? The one who's
Yeah, he is emphasizing. He is elaborating on that point even more. So he's saying that stavai rachen narasada. So he's saying, so stavai means what? Stuva, stuvan, stuti. Do you have any friend called Stuti?
yeah,
Yeah.
auspicious.
No. Stuti is a very common Indian name. Stuti in all Indian languages means praise. So stuvan, what is it? Stavai rachen naras, stavaihi. Stavaihi means praising. Arche means worshipping, archana. You go to temples and do archana, right?
Yeah.
So worship. Stavai rache naraha. Naraha is human beings.
Oh, yeah.
Sada means always. So praising and worshipping him all the time. And who? Pundarikaksha, the lotus-eyed one. Yad bhaktya means with all devotion. Eshame sarva-dharmaanaam dharmo matah means in all dharmas he is the greatest dharma among all the dharmas. Sarva-dharmaanaam means among all dharmas. Naam is like pratyaya, vibhakti pratyaya, right?
One.
Belonging to, kind of, among, rather, among. So sarva-dharmaanaam means among all dharmas. Dharmadikatamo matah means is the greatest dharma. So always living in the summary of all the qualities of God, like Lord Rama and Lord Krishna, is the greatest dharma. What is the dharma? It is not Islam, it's not Christianity, it's not Hinduism, it's not Zoroastrianism, it's not what is it?
Judaism?
Judaism. No, it's called Zoroastrianism, right? I don't know.
Christian.
So it's not those dharma. What is the primary dharma? That is the Sanatana dharma also. The primary dharma of every living creature is to live in the knowledge of God, as if you studied all the Vedas, as if you know all the brahmanas, all the Vedic rituals, you know all the duties. You should behave like that. That is the primary duty of every living being. That is the utmost, the greatest dharma, is to live in the summary of the qualities of God. That's what Lord Rama and Lord Krishna did, right? But it takes a lot of effort. Right? It's not easy. You have to practice a lot for many lives, not just days, not just months, not just years, but many lives. The dharma, the essence of Vedas, the essence of all Vedic rituals, the essence of all righteous paths, all dharmas should be imbibed in your soul. Right? So once they are all imbibed in your soul, you become one with God, like Rama and Krishna. Right? So does that mean that you have to always praise Tuvannama Stavairachin Narasada? That means all the time. It doesn't mean that you set aside all your duties, all your duties towards yourself, to your parents, towards your friends, towards your school, and just repeat the God's name, right? That's not what is meant here. Stavairachin Narasada. So what is the meaning of Stavairachin Narasada?
The one.
The literal meaning is, of course, all the time praise the God and worship the God. But if you do that, what's going to happen? You'll not have food to eat. You'll not be fulfilling your duties to your parents, to your school, to your friends, to everyone, right, in this world, to yourself as well.
Yeah, but a little while ago in another class, like the same class that we talked about Mother Teresa, we talked about, instead of devoting all your time to just worshiping the name, say it in like the back of your mind while also doing something else.
Right. That's a very good interpretation. One interpretation is that allot 10% of your mind towards God. That is one interpretation. Keep repeating God's name and God's qualities in your mind. And when there is a real need, automatically you will get the idea. Okay, so this person is insulting me. What should I do? By repeating God's qualities, you know what to do. You have to take it easy, right? You should not react like an animal, right? A dog, if you throw a stone, it'll start barking, right? We should not be like that. We should control our senses. So you'll automatically exhibit that behavior if you allot, say, 10% or 20% of your mind towards God throughout. So that is one good interpretation. What is the other interpretation of this word? See, Sanskrit without interpretation means nothing. Savai, and in fact, it can be misleading also. That is the problem with, so many people who don't understand the Sanatana Dharma make fun. Your God is like that, your mantras are like this, and all that. So you should understand it in the true sense, interpret it in the true sense.
How do you know when you found the true meaning?
By trial and error. And if you repeat God's name, you'll automatically start realizing what is good and what is bad. Right? By experience, you will start knowing. So, stavai rachen narasada. So, how do you praise somebody? What is the best praise? Do you know what is the best praise of someone?
By glorifying them, by bringing them fame, if you can.
So, Oscar Wilde, you know Oscar Wilde?
He's an actor.
Oscar Wilde. Oh man. Oscar Wilde. So Oscar Wilde is a poet. He's an Irish poet and is known for his intellect. So
Which
he
means
said,
he had a different way of seeing things.
yeah. So he said,
Oh, irritation is the sincerest form of
Flattery.
flattery.
right, the best way to praise somebody is to imitate that person. So the best way to praise the God is to imitate him. Right? Imitate his qualities. You know the 1,000 qualities, or how many ever qualities you can. You know them and then imitate those qualities. So for instance, Pundari Kaksha is one of the names of the God.
The lotus-eyed one.
Yeah, lotus-eyed one. So what does that mean? Can you give an interpretation?
Well, lotuses are like pure and holy and auspicious, and they don't let anything rub off of them.
Right.
So we should be pure, and we shouldn't like get angry or suspicious or mad at anything anybody else says.
Exactly. So you should remain unattached. A lotus remains unattached. So when you say lotus-eyed, what does it mean? It actually means both literally and figuratively. That means the God's eyes are really wide and big, like a lotus petal. And it all that is literal meaning. But the literal meaning doesn't help us a lot. What really helps us is the figurative meaning, figurative metaphor.
Well, people say that eyes are the windows of the soul.
Right. So your eyes are the windows of the soul. That means your eyes should exhibit the qualities of the soul. The soul should be unattached, like a lotus, right? Whatever we see with our eyes, we should be unattached to whatever we see, like lotus is unattached. Well, see, you perceive, most of the perception in this world is through eyes, right? Than through skin, than through ears, than through, right? You're seeing for most of the time, whereas you hear only for some time, you smell only for some time, right? So eyes are the most active. So when you say Pundari Kaksha, meaning lotus-eyed, it means that whatever we see, whatever happens in this world, we should be unattached to those happenings. See, Mahatma Gandhi said, watch no good, watch no bad, hear no bad, and speak no bad, right? But sometimes you are helpless. That is a very good thing to practice, but sometimes you are helpless. Some bad things happen in front of you. So how can you still be unattached? How can you still be unaffected by that? By being unattached, by not associating yourself with that happening, right? So lotus-eyed means that everything you perceive in this world, you should be unattached to it, just like the lotus is unattached. So unattachment should be in our past, in our present, and future vision. all your vision. You think about your past, you should be unattached. You should not get agitated. Oh man, that lady cheated me of $1 million. She cheated me. She told me lies. And she acted so innocent. I believed her. If you think like that, you become unattached. Right? You just think that it happened. It happened. Yes, it happened. It's not, you just have to be
Forget
careful
it
in
and
future.
move
Yeah,
on.
only thing, yeah, you have to take lessons and then move on. Right? If you get attached and you keep on struggling and rubbing yourself on that, it'll only cause harm to yourself and to others. Right?
Oh yeah, you said, or Rama said, that if you spend more than an hour on something, you should immediately distract yourself from it.
Yeah, I think I said
Like
that.
that?
Yeah. So we should keep distracting ourselves when we are too. We should be able to preempt ourselves. It's called preemption. So that is the meaning of Pundarikaksha. So you have to interpret all these words in the right way, and then if you interpreted it in wrong way, then you will automatically know. Sooner or later, you will realize for yourself through experiences and through other things. Right? So, but you should not stop interpreting just because your interpretation was wrong. It will take a lot of effort and time and experience to be good at interpretation. Right? So that's the thing. Okay, I think we are on the top of hour, so let us conclude with our regular prayer. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Sanmangalani Santu. Shubha